Hi Pisces, how's it going? The energy that we're starting off with, I'm seeing that you've had something on your mind a lot. I'm seeing you thinking about this a lot. I'm seeing you kind of like daydreaming about this a lot. We are starting off with Two of Cups. In this Two of Cups card, you can see that this energy is kind of merged into one single entity here. So maybe there's something about that. There can be like maybe some very close, very similar mirroring that's going on here. There can also just be a focus on connection for you right now and something that's moving forward. This can be like on the same page. Now that we got in sync, we can move forward. Nothing is going to stop us. Nothing's going to get in our way here. So you can feel like you're kind of moving as one with another person. It doesn't have to be another person. It can be kind of like, now I feel like this project is receptive to me and now we can like move as one, you know, like the artist and their paintbrush. It can be like one of those types of situations. But whatever it is, I'm seeing things move forward now. So, and it can feel like you're moving in a direction that feels clear to you. This can feel very much like a sure thing to you now at this point too. Everybody on the same page. I'm seeing this be exactly what you wanted. And if this is another person, this is what they want too. Because you're moving right into the Nine of Cups, which is like, this is where I wanted to go. This is what I wanted to happen. And this person is like, yeah, me too. I just see you be in total agreement with them. And like, y'all are going exactly where you want to go. You want to go to the same spot. That's great because you're joined at the hip anyway. So it just seems like all around a good time where there's a lot of agreement that's happening here. And that feels good because it's like, well, we're definitely going there. So you're definitely on board. And they're like, yeah, are you? And you're like, yeah, that's actually exactly what I wanted. It's one of those times where it's like, say what you want and draw it down on the whiteboard. And then on the count of three, we'll like flip and show it to each other. And it's like, you guys wrote the same thing on the whiteboard. So it just feels very much like that, like same wave that you're on here with this person. I'm seeing some choices that are popping up in the environment. This can kind of be like handing you some stuff to deal with a little bit here. I see that it's happening sort of like while you have this thing going on with this person. I'm seeing something else be added to the equation here. And there can definitely be choices that are connected with this. I see something about like maybe trust issues or something like that that can be coming up. Let's actually clarify what's going on with this. This can also be like, I'm starting to feel a little bit scared here. There can be something like that that's going on because I see kind of like we're going in that direction, but then seeing Seven of Swords be coming out, it can be like, I don't know, I'm like getting cold feet a little bit here with this situation. And then having Ace of Swords is like, now my judgment is kind of clouded here with this. And then it can just start getting kind of confusing. But I think it's just like feeling a little bit scared about things. You know, when you start to second guess yourself, that's what this feels like to me. Where you're like, the deal was that this was where I was going to go, and I felt like totally on the same page with myself here about what I was doing, and I knew that I wanted this. Now you have something popping up that I think like throws you off a little bit, and you start feeling like a little bit of a separation here. You're like, is that really what they wrote on the whiteboard there? There's something going on here with this, and then like you can't tell, like, is it your intuition? Is it your anxiety? What's really happening here within this scenario? What is this? Can we get further insight into it? Maybe there's a feeling of kind of being tied to this in a way. Kind of like tied together, maybe even. That can be something with this. Like, did I really make up my mind here? That can be something going on. There can also be a question of like, can I really do this? That's something too. I'm seeing some Virgo energy coming out here. Yeah, I think that this is a time where there can be a little bit of like, I'm getting cold feet because I feel nervous. I feel a little bit scared. Like, can I really do this? Can I really show up for this? I think that I can. I just like need some support right now. It's like one of those times. But I'm not seeing this really, it just feels like a moment where there can be a little bit like, is this really the right way? Because somebody feels scared. Could have maybe been thinking about dipping out a little bit. Okay, so we have Pisces coming out here as the first major arcana. I think there's something here about like telling the truth about what it is that you really want. And maybe this is going to take you somewhere that feels a little bit vulnerable here, even though before it's like, I don't think that there was a shying away, but then when things started to get real, something may have happened where there was a little bit of like fogginess within the thinking and kind of like second guessing of things. Kind of like, am I really ready to go in that dark room with you and feel things out? And so yeah, I think that little bit of stuff there can be something where I think when we kind of forget that in the void we will just find more of ourselves and discover, there could have been just like a little bit of like, I'm shying away from myself, I'm shying away from you, I'm shying away from this situation a little bit, I'm feeling kind of uncomfortable here. Like maybe you got really close, maybe something felt very intimate, maybe there was a feeling of vulnerability, maybe there was a like, gotta relax, gotta be seen, gotta let it go, kind of like that all within the energy. So yeah, something could have just gotten a little twisted, you know? I think that it can be a moment of exposure here that can feel very raw and very vulnerable. And then there can be this thing of like, you know, what did I sign myself up for? It's like the moment before the roller coaster starts going and you start being like, should I really have buckled myself in here? But now you're kind of strapped down and you can't really get out of it and you can't really go anywhere. So you don't really have any other choice than to just like be on the ride and see where it goes. But it's okay because when you were in your right mind, you knew that this was what you wanted to do. So it just feels kind of like one of those moments here when you can just get thrown off, but it's like you're sort of locked into this anyway, and I think it's going to be more than fine. Like, am I really about to do this? Okay, who do we have here? Pisces, Taurus. Yeah, I'm seeing somebody come through to talk to you. They have something going on here. Maybe somebody like for a minute was kind of hiding or like wasn't telling the truth about something. I get that a little bit here. But this is just going to be reflective of somebody being in a space where I think there was a feeling of exposure and vulnerability connected with this. And that could have felt really uncomfortable. And then somebody could have like realized, you know, if I do this, I'm also like, if I run away from this, I'm also running away from what I want. And when I was seeing everything clearly, this was the way that I wanted to go. But now that I'm having doubts, it's like pushing me in the other direction. But I think that's just my shadow here. So I think there's also stuff about kind of a growing self-awareness that can also be the thing that mitigates this type of energy anyway. But yeah, I'm seeing some like active shadow work that has to be done. And I think when we're in a situation that feels very real like this, it can trigger a lot of stuff to be coming up and to be coming out. And so there can be a lot of kind of like blackness that's being thrown up here into this situation with you and this person, which feels just like undiscovered self stuff that can be coming up to be kind of like picked through a little bit. I definitely get a feeling of bravery with Knight of Swords and the Hierophant. I see somebody that has like the intention is there for the movement to be there. It feels like it's even already happening. So maybe somebody's just deciding to be very clear. Something else that I'm seeing is that I'm seeing somebody feeling a lot of pressure, and I'm also seeing somebody like not wanting to delete certain options that they have. That's something that's being brought up too. So yeah, maybe something about that is, it's like you gotta pick one. I'm gonna need you to let go of something here. Like you can't do both. And there can be somebody that's like, I want to do this my way. And I think there's like a really elegant way that this could be done. And I think there's also a different type of way that this can be done. And I actually don't know which one is going to be chosen, because I'm seeing somebody hold back a little bit here because they feel like they're still deciding on something. I'm seeing this be connected with the Hierophant energy. I'm seeing somebody, it looks like they have a decent amount of earth within their chart, and there's somebody that can be very clear when they're ready to talk, but they won't talk until they're ready to talk, is the feeling from this. And yeah, I see somebody maybe a little bit having control issues. You can maybe see that within them. There can be stuff about this feels almost like a subconscious warding off of, I know that if I go in that direction, I'm going to see things about myself. And maybe that's where some of the hesitance came from within the energy. Like if I look behind that curtain, I'm going to see myself very clearly in this moment. And I think something very clearly ends up being exposed once that threshold is broken. And someone can be seeing where they've been like not really negotiating and not really collaborating and not really cooperating. Because I see somebody really digging their feet in here. And it can be something that maybe feels a little bit selfish with Hierophant and Four of Pentacles. Like there's no negotiation at all. This can be kind of like my way or highway. And seeing as this is a Two of Cups type of situation, that's not really how a collaboration works. That's more so how a rulership works. So maybe there's something here that you're trying to figure out with this person where, I don't know, but then I see another side to them where it's like they're not always like this. I think other times they're more flexible, but maybe when this person gets triggered or they're feeling kind of scared, they turn into a stone and you can't really move them anymore. I'm seeing somebody that becomes a boulder within the energy, but at other times I'm seeing them be much more flexible and kind of quick to take action. So it's either like they can move pretty quickly or they can just be completely stuck like concrete. So that can just be like something maybe that you're realizing and that you're adjusting to as well. Like they only have an on switch and an off switch. They don't have one of those gradient switches. So this can be something that you're seeing with this person. I see somebody a little bit controlling. And could have been shying away from the connection a little bit, but if that's the case, it's not because it has to do with you. It's because of like this exposing things about themselves to them. And that's what this would be about. So if that's happening with you, don't be mistaking this and taking it personally, because it's not personal. This can be somebody that feels a little bit like, I'm going to be exposed and I'm going to be forced to like see this side of myself. And yeah, you know, like, am I ready to confront that? Because this is going to require that of me. kind of like, can I get away without being seen? But then I also want the connection at the same time. So what do I do then? And maybe also, as the extremely intuitive being that you are, you can be picking up on all of this that's happening with this person. Because I'm seeing you kind of be aware of what's going on, even though I'm seeing, it looks kind of like a little bit of a curtain between you and this person at times. And I'm seeing, even though like they're behind the curtain, it's like as soon as you close your eyes, you tune into the station. It's like watching them on a TV channel, and you can see exactly what's going on with them, but they think that they're like behind the curtain alone. They have no idea, but you're like picking up on all of this. So I'm seeing it kind of be like that. Like you being very aware of their process and what's going on with them, but they like think that they're in their own privacy, like doing whatever, like talking back and forth with themselves. And for you, I'm just seeing you kind of watching all of this play out with them. I'm hearing, I don't know if you're ready for this. I'm seeing Moon and I'm seeing Mars next to one another. When we have Moon and Mars next to each other, we can be summoning, energies that we really have to ask ourselves if we're ready for that type of thing, you know, because this can be kind of rough to handle. But with Temperance there, maybe you also are finding a way to do exactly that, you know, like the energy's going up and the energy's going down, and you're just trying to adjust to all of this. I'm seeing you be at a point where you can feel very, very, very sensitive to what's going on, and you can be kind of like keeping it together on the outside, but I'm seeing on the inside, it's like you being twisted all over the place within the energy. But then with Temperance there, you're like somehow finding a way to make this work, which feels very, very powerful. I feel like you're a very powerful transmuter within a situation that can really be pushing you to your limits a bit. So that can also be something too, where you kind of feel like you're getting tossed all around within the energy. I think that a lot of this is the other person's energy that you're tuning into and connecting with here. So maybe you also feel like your energy can be a bit intense too sometimes. So maybe it's like not totally throwing you off to be connected with this person's energy, but that doesn't mean that it's a smooth ride, because I'm seeing something be like flipping you all over the place. It's giving that feeling sometimes within the energy where, you know, if you're like driving in a car, you put the window down and you put your head out the window and the air blows in your face and you feel like you can't really breathe. I get that sometimes within the energy with this person. You can be feeling like that, and it can be something that you're still finding a way to make this work, definitely. But I do get something that you're very strongly impacted by. But you can also be at a spot where you're like, I think that it's worth it for me to be patient because this is something that I want here. And you can feel just like in general like it's worth it to you. Kind of like, this is what I'm prioritizing and I'm clear on that and I'm good with that. And this is the choice that I'm making. I see that this person that you've been dealing with, I feel like they're either going to say something that you weren't, I want to keep it like that. They're going to say something that you weren't expecting for them to say. Or like move a certain way that you may not have been thinking they were going to move. And I get something again, like I see at times there being what looks like a curtain between the two of you. And so you can sort of be like anticipating this a little bit, but it can still be maybe a little bit surprising. It's something weird, like, it's like you have a curtain between the two of you, okay? And you can't see the other person, and it's like you start running towards the curtain because you're gonna break through to the other side, and they start running towards the curtain because they're gonna break through the other side, and then you guys like meet in the middle, like smack into each other and fall down. I see kind of that a little bit here, where like you guys just may at the same time kind of like converge towards one another, and I'm seeing something that you want is like in between the two of you. You know what this is reminding me of? This is like such an obscure reference, but in Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie, when they're like running up the pyramid to see who's gonna get that like puzzle piece at the top of it, it's like both of them running to get to the top to see like who's gonna swipe it first. I kind of get that between you and this person. Like you both want the thing that's at the top of the mountain, and I'm seeing like they're deciding to run up and you're deciding to run up, and like both of you guys grabbing hold of this thing. But it's kind of funny the way that this is turning out, because I feel like in certain ways you guys could be kind of like collaborating with one another and working with one another, but I'm seeing a little bit of something else that's going on. But I feel like it's because like one of the energies is being kind of stubborn, where I think that if it were up to you, you would be doing this a little bit differently. And I think because they're being like a little bit more controlling with the energy, you're like, okay, like I guess we just have to do it your way then. And you can see like things could actually probably be done in a little bit of a better way. But you can just be kind of like adapting and rolling with the punches of this. I do want to say this. I see something that was like open before, and then it kind of gets like covered up. So maybe there was something that felt like very intimate or like transparent with the two of you, and then like something else could have happened where there could have been like, no, I feel too seen. It could be something like that. It's weird because the way that the energy is coming through is like somebody that wants intimacy and wants to connect, but they may also shy away from it at times, where it's like you're the one that's making that choice. If you want this, you know, you could like pull the curtain and we can connect, but you're like stomping around back there behind the curtain, but you know it's your choice. It's like somebody putting themselves in a position that they don't really want to be in, but like it's like they're the one that put themselves in that position. So it's just a little bit weird what's going on. Like maybe you feel like you're being affected by the mind games that this person is kind of playing on themselves. I just get this like person kind of like trying to vie for control a little bit, but I think like them with them, but now it's bleeding into the connection that you have with them. And I think overall you may be used to handling this type of energy, so you can just be like figuring out a way to deal with it. Because I do see in general, like things were going in a particular direction, then there's this other stuff that's going on, so it could have been kind of like a little bit of a bump in the road, maybe, is how this can be felt. But I'm seeing the tires still rolling within this situation. I'm seeing Taurus and I'm seeing Gemini, and then we also have Sag and Pisces. I'm seeing Moon and I'm seeing Mars. But yeah, this can be like Taurus Moon, Gemini Moon, Sag Moon, or Mars, and or I see also two signs of somebody that can be like kind of conservative and traditional. So they may move in a particular way where it may not feel the most fluid within the energy. Like maybe they have like all these rules or something like that. Rules of how they do things, because you're showing up as a high priestess, they're showing up as the Hierophant, which are in fact counterpart energies. But the Hierophant can be a little bit stiff. And a High Priestess is one that's just like, go with the flow, let's see what feels right. And the Hierophant can be like, that's against the rules a little bit here. So, and they can have like rules about how the relationship works and this and that, you know, and kind of like non-negotiable certain things. I don't know if that's like genuinely actually how they felt, if they deeply self-reflected on that, but it can just be like the way that they're doing things right now. So there can be that kind of in the mix here too with them. You know, like maybe it's somebody that they have these ideas and these beliefs about things, and I don't know how much they're like really checking into that to see if that was just something passed down or if that really like comes from within them organically. I think overall too, you can feel like this relationship has been very emotionally disruptive, and it can in general be something that where it feels very hard to regulate. But at the same time, you can be not allowing this to take you over, because I'm not seeing you drown in it, but I'm seeing something where this takes a lot of spiritual strength to kind of like keep your head above water in this type of scenario, energetically speaking, because this can be something that really gives you a lot of whiplash here. But maybe you also have a lot of personal experience with difficult relationships. So this can be something where you're kind of like an expert at dealing with these sorts of things. That doesn't mean that it's not difficult, but it can mean that maybe you have a very significant skill set that you're exercising. I'm seeing somebody plays music. I'm seeing something about music here. Instruments. You don't know if it's going to go right or left with them still at this point. That's what I'm getting. See strong Taurus energy here. I see something where it's like things were clear, but then they're not clear. And you can be feeling things, but there can also be stuff that's like not totally been being said out loud, but then I'm seeing what looks like a bit of a breakthrough or like some type of movement that happens. It's like when you're yanking to get the leash out of somebody's hand and like finally you yank it and then you can sort of run here. I see something like that within the energy where it's like there was some sort of resistance, but then I'm seeing the resistance be broken down and I'm seeing something kind of be unleashed a little bit here. And you are at the center of all of this. This whole situation seems kind of like mysterious. I see a lot of stuff that's not totally out in the open with you and this person, and just a lot of undefined things that have been going on. It's like in a lot of ways you feel deeply spiritually connected to this person, but you may also not know what exactly that means. I'm seeing you feel like you have this very intuitive, like maybe, yeah, I feel like you have a psychic connection with this person, but as far as kind of like what's happening, I'm seeing it feel like stuff happening all the time on an energetic level where it can be kind of like these little bursts of energy. It's like things move forward and then this thing happens and then that's going on. So it feels like there are like all these eventful things that are happening within the energy. What is still being decided on? Having Two of Cups and having the Tower can be like you and this person, you decide that there's a common goal that you're going to go towards, or that you like want the same thing, so you're going to work together and you're going to go in that direction. But I wonder if there was some type of splitting or something that happened. Let's see what this is. Like before, I'm seeing everything be joined, but then with the Tower, it can feel like something split you guys apart. But I'm seeing everybody wanted the same thing. Splitting the deck, I'm seeing the Star, I'm seeing Ace of Cups. What is this Tower? Seems like everybody agreed on what you were going to be happy with, and everybody was on the same page. Yeah, it's like, I'd be happy to do that. I'm definitely seeing this new chapter that you guys have with one another. I see somebody that really resonates with Earth energy, because I kept seeing the King of Pentacles again and again and again. So you can have somebody, because King of Pentacles is Taurus. But it can be somebody that channels that type of energy. They can be kind of stubborn, kind of slow moving, but also can be like committed to the things that they care about, like not really wanting to let go of things that they've invested in. But there can also be a deep devotion to the things that they care about. And I am seeing efforts being made for like some sort of movement, because I am seeing this person's energy. I'm seeing them take action, but I'm seeing something about having to wait. Because it's like they were deciding something and I feel like they weren't budging. Or like may have just been stuck within the energy. I don't know if you've gotten to this point yet, but I'm seeing something unexpected happen between the two of you guys. And it even feels like maybe something being brought to light that wasn't being brought to light. But there may have not been a full awareness of this. Like, this can be somebody that does such a good job covering up like what's really going on with them or how they're feeling, that there's not even an idea that there's a cover-up going on, but it can feel kind of like something feels a little bit off, and then it feels like there's some type of exposure that's connected with this. But the surprising thing about all of this is that you could find out that you and this person, you really have been on the same page. But maybe there was something going on where you didn't know that. It's like you felt it, but then maybe something went unconfirmed, but then I'm seeing something about confirmation here of this. And then a question of kind of like, how do we do this then? But this can like ultimately bring about something that you want, and kind of going into the deep end with this person, the two of you together. I'm seeing also something that you could have been ready to move on, but you had to wait until this person, it's kind of like you were ready yesterday to meet at the spot, but you had to wait until they were ready to meet at the spot, because you can be standing there forever. You have to wait until they meet you. There's something like that, like you both have to be kind of like linking up in the same space for things to be able to move forward. Like you have to be in that like mutual space with one another. And there could have been something going on where somebody was like maybe not being clear about what it was that they wanted. They could have been like holding back their energy a little bit. You could have been trying to like work with them and be patient, but then you could have felt like, I don't know, there was just stuff that was feeling weird between you and this person and the connection. I see this person too, they can take a while to figure out what it is that they want to say and take action, which I feel like is a theme that I'm seeing for them. They just may be very slow moving. But I am seeing something be clarified that was not exposed before between the two of you. I want to know what this energy is over here. Because I see somebody that can be like a stickler for certain rules that they have. And they may like not be very giving at times. Like there could have been something like that where I'm seeing like a lot of the energy being held back, but it feels like a little bit unfairly given the sentiment of the connection that you guys have. I'm seeing it be like high intensity, but at the same time, it's like what you want, it's what they want. So maybe this is just like, well, it's a lot to deal with, but it's worth it because this is what I want most of all. But I do keep seeing something about somebody that was like almost sabotaging what they wanted by like holding back. This is somebody that's like, instead of meeting you halfway, they're like, you gotta come all the way to me. I get that type of thing with this. But again, that's not very collaborative. And it's like you guys are working together with one another, but they keep like making you meet them all the way at their place. So meaning like something can feel like unfair, like unbalanced between the two of you. Seeing you've been very, very patient with this person, even though it kind of like stresses you out to be. Kind of like waiting for them a little bit here within the energy. I'm seeing the star again. This is Aquarius. Whatever this is, I'm seeing stuff be clarified that was not being clarified before. Maybe you had a little bit of a standoff with this person. I want to say this again, like I feel like this wasn't clarified, but there's a possibility of this Hierophant energy had maybe been like holding on to something and not making a choice. Like, I think the easiest way for me to communicate this, and this is just an example, I'm not saying this is everybody's situation, it's just to describe the energy. There could have been something going on where maybe they had their relationship with you, maybe they had a relationship with another person, maybe they weren't being totally upfront with you about that, and they could have been like, I'm still trying to figure out which one I want here and I'm not really sure, but maybe wasn't saying that to you. And it could have been what was causing maybe some delays or issues, but instead of just being transparent with you about it, it could have been that something else was going on. They were doing something else. So you could have been like, what's really the holdup here? I don't know why they wouldn't have just told you, though. I don't really get that. But yeah, you could have been like maybe holding your energy back a little bit because of this. Seeing somebody with a necklace here, maybe they always wear a particular type of necklace. I just get like whatever game this was, it's kind of like the game isn't happening anymore. And you just can like kind of see what was going on. It's like a strong wind blows a curtain and you see what's been going on behind there the entire time, but before it was like you maybe didn't have access to it. I feel actually like you intuitively knew, but maybe it like wasn't confirmed. And you see the person still there like trying to make a decision. I again like don't know why they wouldn't just work with you and communicate that with you, but I'm seeing this person like they may be used to doing things on their own terms, like that, you know, like maybe this person has Aries placements too, because we're seeing the energy of Taurus here, so maybe something like that, where I just feel like you could be working with someone that like doesn't always know how to like work within a dynamic, within a relationship. Like maybe they're not the best at like communicating at times, or they're like selective with the communication, you know, or very careful with the communication, deliberate with the communication, maybe not always the most effective. So there can be these sorts of things that you're dealing with this person. But I do see things moving forward now with you guys. Kind of like moving out of the past and like moving into what seems like a good time, and deciding that this is what everybody wants to go for. Yeah, I see them like all of a sudden getting vulnerable with you, but I'm seeing that wasn't happening before. It's because they had to take care of something, is what I'm seeing. But I feel very strongly like they were not being clear with you about this. That's the way the energy is coming through. And you could have maybe been doubting yourself a little bit, but I'm seeing you were right all along about what was happening. This does feel like a breakthrough with them, where it's like, finally, we can just get things started now. Yeah. This may happen, the moon is going in with the sun, so this may happen around the new moon. I'm recording this reading like much before this is going to be out. I'm recording this reading on the 17th, but it's going to be coming out the 27th. So yeah, maybe something around the new moon that's connected with this. It doesn't have to be, like this can be some type of transit that you end up going through, but I am seeing that, so there can be something about that specific timing. I think the other thing about this person too, just so there's like not a misunderstanding about their energy, I am seeing that once they're kind of like signed on for something, I am seeing them be very like devoted and committed to it. So that can be part of the reason why there's so much deliberation for them. Because stuff can feel very serious for them when they're like, this is what I'm gonna do. So that can be part of the reason why they take so long. But yeah, whatever this stalemate was that you were having with them, I'm seeing it be over. It's like finally waving the white flag here, but it took them so long to find it within the energy. I get them being very, very, very stubborn. And you could have had to like really trust yourself a lot moving through this process too. All right. We are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting and tuning in. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.